Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. Today's video is titled, "She Didn't Expect You to Heal Without Her. Now She is Watching You, Healing in Silence." This is not just another talk about breakups or moving on. It's a masterclass in emotional intelligence, masculine self-respect, and the quiet power of true healing. We'll explore how your silence speaks louder than words, how history has shown the resilience of men who chose to rebuild rather than beg, and why your authentic growth is the most attractive force you can develop. You'll hear powerful historical love and relationship stories, practical emotional mastery advice, and timeless truths to strengthen your mind and spirit. If you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, to turn heartbreak into mastery, and to become the man she and the world never saw coming, then stay with us through all 4 chapters of this video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Your engagement fuels this mission to restore real strength and wisdom to men everywhere. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Silent Rebirth. Why your healing terrifies her. When a woman leaves, many men crumble. They beg, plead, lose their dignity. Society has trained you to chase her validation. But the truth, the uncomfortable, liberating truth, is that your silence is a declaration of independence. She didn't expect you to heal without her. She thought you would spiral. She thought you would be lost in endless texts, apologies, gifts, and humiliating pleas. Instead, you went silent. You chose yourself. And now she watches from afar, wondering what man you are becoming without her. This is not revenge, this is rebirth. Throughout history, the men who mastered themselves, who walked away from what no longer served them, shaped their destinies. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius. As emperor of Rome, he faced betrayal not just from political rivals, but even from his own wife, Faustina, whose fidelity was questioned throughout history. Yet Marcus refused to be consumed by bitterness. Instead, he wrote his Meditations, a timeless testament to self-control and wisdom. He turned pain into philosophy, silence into mastery. You see, healing in silence is not passive. It is the most active thing you can do. It is choosing not to broadcast your pain to win sympathy. It is refusing to make your suffering her entertainment. Modern culture tells you, express everything, show her you miss her, win her back. I tell you, guard your soul like a fortress. Your silence shows you don't need external validation to heal. You don't need her pity or her permission to move on. In this silence, you learn. You dissect the patterns that led to your downfall. You recognize your emotional triggers. You learn to regulate yourself, not through her reassurance, but through your own discipline. This is emotional intelligence in its purest form. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about directing them, channeling them, mastering them. When she sees you heal in silence, she sees you transform into something untouchable. She expected you to be a mess. Instead, you are a mystery. But let's be clear, this isn't about manipulation. Don't be silent to get her back. Don't heal to make her jealous. That's childish. You heal for you. Because the man who can sit with his pain without lashing out, who can choose calm over chaos, becomes a man of substance. History gives us countless examples. Consider Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years, separated from family and wife, betrayed by friends and allies. He emerged from that silence and isolation not with bitterness, but with resolve, clarity, and purpose. His silence wasn't weakness, it was preparation. What about you? Your breakup is not a prison sentence, but it can feel like one. The walls are made of memories, the bars are regrets. The silence echoes with your doubts. Yet it is in that very silence you can remake yourself. This is where you hit the gym, not out of spite, but discipline. Where you read books that sharpen your mind, where you build your career and secure your future. Where you connect with friends who keep you accountable, where you become the man who doesn't need her approval. She didn't expect that. Society didn't expect that. They expected you to be soft, emotional, without control, desperate, needy. Instead, you embody the Stoic code: endure, transcend, rebuild. Your silence is not empty. It is full of work, full of purpose. She will notice, maybe not today, but eventually she will check your social media. She will ask mutual friends. She will see the shift in your eyes if you meet again. And by then, you won't care, because the healing was real. The man you became no longer needs her validation. That is power. Not the power to dominate her or win her back, but the power to master yourself. That power is magnetic. It attracts better women, better opportunities, better friends, because you become a man whose worth does not depend on others. This is what I want for you: not to play games, not to punish her, not to manipulate, but to evolve. Because the highest revenge is no revenge. The highest answer is self-mastery. When you choose silence, you're not ignoring her. You're listening to yourself. You're tending to the wounds only you can see. That's the real work. And when that work is done, you'll look back and realize the breakup was the best thing that could have happened. It forced you to face the truth that your life is your responsibility, that no one is coming to save you, that the only person you can truly control is yourself. This is the start of your transformation. This is the Stoic path. This is healing in silence. Drop a comment below. I choose silence over chaos. I choose healing over chasing. Chapter 2. The power of non-reactivity, turning pain into discipline. When she left, you felt it like a dagger in your chest. The betrayal, the sudden absence, the cold distance from someone who once seemed so close. This is where most men fail themselves. They react, they rage, they beg, they post cryptic social media updates, they argue with her friends, they try to make her jealous with someone new. It's predictable, it's weak. She didn't expect you to not react. She didn't expect you to respond with calm. Understand this. Non-reactivity is not indifference, it's power. It's the moment you choose discipline over impulse. You see, your emotions are not the enemy. They're the raw materials of your future, but only if you learn to master them. This is emotional intelligence at its core. Psychologist Daniel Goleman popularized the term emotional intelligence to describe the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize and influence the emotions of others. When you refuse to react in anger or neediness, you're not suppressing your feelings, you're training them. Just like a warrior drills his body to respond in combat, you drill your emotions to respond with clarity. Think about the samurai. In feudal Japan, these warriors were trained not only in the art of the sword, but in the art of calm. They practiced zanshin, the state of relaxed awareness, of readiness without tension. When betrayed or provoked, they did not flinch. They did not draw their blade in blind anger. They decided when to act, and often they chose not to act at all. Their silence was not fear, it was preparation. Your ex expects you to lash out, to call her names, to send angry paragraphs, to expose her secrets. When you do none of that, you show you are not ruled by base emotion. This doesn't just impress her, it elevates you. It's a statement. I am in control of myself. Nothing you do can make me abandon that. Men throughout history have leveraged this power. Consider Abraham Lincoln. During his presidency, he was viciously attacked in the press and by political rivals. He was called a tyrant, an ape, an uneducated fool. He almost always refused to respond in anger. He practiced what he called charity toward all, malice toward none. He focused on his mission, not on petty fights. That calm leadership held the country together in its darkest hour. Or take the example of Frederick Douglass, born into slavery, denied education, beaten and humiliated. When he escaped and began speaking publicly, people tried to provoke him into losing his temper so they could discredit him. But Douglass refused. He responded with measured, powerful words. His calm shattered their arguments. His non-reactivity exposed their cruelty. In your own life, this is your power. When she says hurtful things, stay calm. When friends report she's talking badly about you, stay calm. When you see her with someone new, stay calm. You don't need to prove anything to her. You only need to prove to yourself that you will not betray your own principles for temporary emotional release. This is the true test of a man. Anyone can be calm when life is easy. A man is defined by how he handles rejection, betrayal, loss. Your healing will be marked by these choices. Check mark. When you want to text her at 2 a.m. and don't. When you want to rant on social media and don't. When you want to badmouth her to mutual friends and don't. When you want to check her page and instead read a book. When you want to stay in bed all day but go to the gym. Each small act of discipline is another brick in the fortress of your character. It's not about pretending you don't hurt. It's about channeling that pain into progress. She is watching. Maybe she won't admit it, but she'll notice. Because the man who can hold his ground when the world expects him to crumble is rare. And rare men are valuable, not just to women, but to everyone. Employers want them. Friends respect them. Society needs them. When you become non-reactive, you become trustworthy, dependable, unshakable. That's what your silence is about. Not ignoring, not avoiding, but preparing, building, becoming. And if one day you see her again, you don't need to prove anything. Your calm will say it all. You have healed. You have grown. You have conquered yourself. There is no greater achievement, so embrace this silence. Use it to train your mind, to sharpen your vision, to strengthen your will. Because when this storm passes, and it will, you will emerge not as the same man who was abandoned, but as the man who chose himself. And that man needs no validation. He is the validation. He doesn't chase, he attracts. That is the power of non-reactivity. That is the promise of true emotional intelligence. And that is the path you're on. Drop a comment below with calm resolve. Chapter 3. Rebuilding your kingdom. The discipline of self-respect. Now that you've chosen silence and mastered your reactivity, what comes next? You rebuild. Because silence without action is just hiding. But silence paired with work? That's evolution. She didn't expect you to heal without her because she didn't expect you to improve without her. She thought you would stagnate, wait around, scroll her photos, dream of her return. But you are not that man anymore. You will rebuild your kingdom. Let's be clear. Heartbreak is one of life's most potent catalysts. It burns away illusions. It shows you the gaps in your defenses. It reveals the parts of you that were dependent, untested, soft. Use it. Throughout history, great men have turned personal loss into lasting legacy. Look at Theodore Roosevelt. His wife and mother died on the same day. He wrote a giant black X in his journal on that date with the words, "The light has gone out of my life." But he did not give up. He went west, lived as a rancher, rebuilt his spirit through hardship and discipline. He returned stronger, more decisive, ultimately becoming one of America's most dynamic presidents. He didn't beg anyone to save him. He saved himself. That's the model. After heartbreak, you don't just get over it. You rebuild yourself so thoroughly that you don't need to get over it. The pain has become fuel for your transformation. What does that look like in modern life? You improve your body, not for vanity, but for discipline. You advance your career or business, not to show off, but to secure your independence. You develop your mind, read, study, think. You strengthen your network. Find men of integrity who challenge you. You reconnect with purpose, spiritual, philosophical, whatever calls you to something greater than yourself. This is not about revenge, it's about respect. First, for yourself, because you cannot respect a man who abandons himself over a woman. This is the truth most modern men refuse to hear. They place women at the center of their lives, making them the source of their worth. When she leaves, they lose everything. But a man who respects himself knows this. She can add to my life, but she will never be the foundation of it. This attitude is not cold, it's healthy. Love is not obsession. Love is not dependence. Healthy love is the overflow of a strong, disciplined, purposeful man. Women sense this. They are drawn to the man who does not need them, but chooses them from a place of abundance. That's why your silence bothers her. She wanted to be your emotional center. She wanted you orbiting her. When you refuse that role, when you go quiet and get to work, you force her to see you as a man on his own mission. This is not manipulation, this is alignment with truth. In ancient Greece, the philosopher Epictetus taught that happiness depends not on external events, but on our response to them. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your heartbreak was an event. Your rebuilding is your reaction. You can't control that she left. You can control that you rise. This is the discipline of self-respect. It is refusing to wallow. It is refusing to seek pity. It is refusing to make excuses. Instead, it is waking up early when you want to sleep in, lifting the weight when you want to stay weak, reading when you want to mindlessly scroll, saving when you want to waste, planning when you want to drift. Every small choice is a vote for the man you will become. And what happens when you do this consistently? You don't just heal, you become dangerous. Not violent or cruel, but dangerous in the best sense. A man who cannot be easily controlled, manipulated, or broken. A man who has options, who has purpose, who has self-respect that radiates. Women notice. They see the difference between the man who sulks and the man who builds. She will notice. She may never admit it. She may never say she regrets leaving, but she will see the change. She will see the man you became without her. And in that moment she will know she did not break you, she forged you, but you won't need her recognition because you will have already given yourself the only validation that matters. I kept my word to myself. This is the work most men avoid. They look for quick fixes, new girls, parties, distractions. But you choose the hard path, the meaningful path, the path that leaves you transformed. Because one day you'll look back at this breakup and thank it for waking you up, for pushing you to become the man you were always meant to be. That is the power of rebuilding your kingdom. That is the promise of silence and discipline. And that is why she's watching you heal in silence, because deep down, she knows she never expected you to do it. Drop a comment below with Disciplined Rebuild. Chapter 4. The Return of Presence, Becoming the Man. She can't forget. By now, you've chosen silence, you've mastered your reactivity, you've rebuilt your kingdom, but there's one final transformation that completes your healing. Presence. The quality of being fully in the moment. Grounded, unshakable, attentive to life itself. Presence is the final stage of healing because it shows you no longer live in the past. You're not clinging to what was. You're not obsessed with what might be. You are here. Now, most men never reach this stage. They heal partially. They improve superficially. But inside, they remain chained to the past. They hold on to bitterness. They fantasize about proving her wrong. They want to show her what she lost. But you don't need that, because your goal is not to make her see. Your goal is to see yourself clearly. Let's look at history. Consider Siddhartha Gautama, the man who became the Buddha. He was born a prince with every luxury, but he walked away. He lost his family, his status, his entire identity. He wandered in silence, faced doubt and temptation. But in the end, he found enlightenment, not through anger or revenge, but through total presence. Through seeing things as they really are, without clinging or aversion. He taught, you only lose what you cling to. That's your final lesson in this journey. You can't truly heal if you're still hoping to change her mind. Your silence must not be a tactic. Your rebuilding must not be a performance. Your presence must be real. This is what emotional intelligence looks like at its peak. You can feel pain without being defined by it. You can remember her without resenting her. You can see her with someone else without losing your center. You can wish her well, even if you never speak again. Presence is forgiveness, not for her, but for you, because the anger you hold burns you more than it burns her. let go. This doesn't mean you forget the lessons or that you invite betrayal back into your life. It means you no longer let the past dictate your future. You're free. Consider the great Roman general Scipio Africanus. He defeated Hannibal, Rome's greatest enemy, when no one thought it was possible. But later, betrayed by jealous rivals in the Senate, he was forced into retirement. He didn't beg to return. He didn't plot revenge. He simply left Rome. When asked why, he reportedly said, "Let us be gone from a city where men cannot endure my virtues." He was content with who he was. His victories stood on their own. He needed no applause. That is presence. Your value is not determined by who stays or leaves. Your worth is not set by who loves you or doesn't. Your power is not in making her regret, but in living so well that regret becomes irrelevant. And yes, she will notice. When you meet her again, if you ever do, she'll see the calm in your eyes, the relaxed confidence, the total self-ownership. She may remember the man who used to need her so badly, and she'll see the man who doesn't need anyone. But again, it's not about her. By the time you reach true presence, you don't need her validation. You don't even need her to notice, because your life is full. You laugh easily. You love freely. You trust yourself. You hold your boundaries. You know your mission. This is the man she can't forget. Not because you tried to make her remember, but because you became unforgettable. It's ironic, isn't it? When you chased, she ran. When you clung, she pulled away. When you lost yourself in her, she lost respect for you. But when you let go, when you focused inward, when you chose silence, discipline, rebuilding, and presence, you became the man she always wanted you to be, but too late for her to have. That's life. But you don't become him for her, you become him for yourself. This is the final lesson. Healing is not about moving on to punish her. Healing is not about finding someone new to replace her. Healing is about returning to yourself, about realizing you were whole all along. She didn't expect you to heal without her, but you did. And now, she is watching you heal in silence. Not because you want her watching, but because your evolution is undeniable, because your presence cannot be ignored. And you? You're too busy living to notice. That is the reward. That is the victory. That is the promise of the Stoic Golden Tribe, men who don't just survive heartbreak, men who don't just move on, men who transform, men who reclaim their strength, wisdom, and calm, men who become immovable. You are that man in the making. Stay on the path. Embrace the silence. Master your reactivity. Rebuild your kingdom. Live with presence. And watch as the world, including her, cannot help but respect what you have become. Because you healed in silence, because you chose yourself, because you remembered who you are. Drop a comment below with unshakable presence.